Hello, everyone, and welcome into the Wild Tales podcast. I am your host, Mike Bona. And before we jump into today's episode, I just want to take a minute to talk to you directly. As you know, Wild Tales is a one-man operation. I am the host, the producer, the editor, the guest wrangler, all of it. And while I absolutely love making the podcast, I've been going through some challenges in my personal life lately that's made it tough to keep a steady release schedule. I might not have a massive audience, but I do greatly appreciate the audience I have. Your loyalty and support means more to me than I can put into words. So after this episode, I have one more that's in the can, as they say. It's recorded and ready to go. But after that, I'm going to take a short break. I'm going to step back, catch my breath, and figure out what I want Wild Tales to look like moving forward. My hope is to come back stronger and even with better stories to share than before. With that being said, let's move on to today's episode. My guest is my good friend, Tim Camerano, a guy whose passion for wildlife conservation runs deep. Tim is one of those people who doesn't just talk about protecting animals, he finds real ways to make a difference. He's here to share, his own story, plus to tell us about an event he's holding called Texas Hold'em, a fundraiser he's helping organize to benefit Global Conservation Force, which is an amazing organization working to protect endangered species and support wildlife rangers all around the world. Tim's energy, dedication, and commitment to the cause is truly inspiring, and I'm excited for you to hear his story. And it's just a pleasure for me to have him on my show. He's always a great dude to talk to. So without further ado, here's my conversation with Tim Camerano. All right, man. Well, hey, let's just roll into it, man. I'm so excited to have my buddy Tim on the podcast. Thanks for coming on, Tim.
Yeah, excited to be here. Thank you for the opportunity.
Man, we've been friends for a while, and it's great to have friends on the podcast, but I know I might have to just, at least today, just wrangle you in, control you. I know you get excited, you get animated. I'm going to have to just be like, settle down. We got to have a conversation. I know you're excited about your projects, but we're going to get into a lot today, and I'm looking forward to it.
Ooh, yes. Very exciting. Very exciting.
So, Tim, I don't know where we start. I don't know. I know you got some projects, some big events coming up. We'll get into that, but let's talk about a little bit about what you do, how you got where you're at, your history with working with animals and such. Tell us about yourself, Tim.
Ooh, my pleasure. First and foremost, I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity again to come on here, share some insight on what I have going on over here. As you mentioned before, we have a relationship that's spanned over many years, started in California at America's Teaching Zoo, where you're an alumni of, and I was going through it, and you were one of the key supporters for me, and I'm very grateful for that. Through the years, we've collaborated over various conservation fundraisings for different organizations. I love that. We like to be collaborative as opposed to competitive. If we all have the same goal in mind, we should work together to accomplish that. When I graduated from America's Teaching Zoo, Moore Park College, my purpose, and I remember stating it with some of my mentors, was to try to have positive impact using what I know and who I know as I grow, but in my own unique way that's like convenient for myself. That way it's not so taxing. And if it is, I can always analyze, reflect, and look at the rewards that aren't necessarily on paper, because we're all going to be going through it. And I'm sure y'all can relate a lot to that, being in a field that has to do with rewards that might not be measurable on paper. I bounced around. So graduated in 2018, didn't have any kids or a significant other, which gave me the flexibility to look for opportunities that could have that positive impact. So I worked in Los Angeles for a little bit, multiple jobs. I went out to Ethel, Louisiana, worked there for a little bit. I worked in Texas, different parts of Texas. And then now I'm currently in Fredericksburg, Texas, known as Texas Wine Country. So I work as a wine steward and I work golf course maintenance, but then I volunteer to help wildlife, talk with people that I've networked with in the past. And then the winery that I'm at right now, they have been allowing me to have fundraisers there the last 3 years that I've been there. So, to the face of a lot of people that don't know my background, they just see me as someone who pours wine or someone who helps with golf maintenance. But to y'all and other people, and then most importantly to myself, I know I'm still doing any and everything that I initially set out and thought was possible. And it kind of ties into, if you believe you can do it and you have that vision, other people might support, they might not. But if it's in your head, you got to be the one willing to put in that work. And it's going to be delayed gratification. And right now, there is a lot of delayed gratification coming to fruition. And it's amazing that I'm able to touch back with people that know me more, like you, Mike. And then now we're out here pushing it out, not only maybe some of the events I'm about to talk about, but then just some of maybe the mindset that we have to have doing some work that we know can be very taxing. You know, you're dealing with animals and people, and you might not have all the information, or the people that you're dealing with might not be aware. But I know I can start doing my little rhino rants. So I'll kind of stop it right there. I'm in Texas right now doing an event called Texas Save 'em. It's not about saving them. That's just because I like Texas Hold'em, and I've always wanted to do an event called Texas Save 'em from back when I was in California. But now I'll make it all blend together. I'll pause, but I would like to say one thing since I am out here in Texas. But I'll pause so you can say, go for it.
All right, we'll get into that, but I love it. You know, you're working on the golf course, the winery. People, you know, you're focused on your job, but in your mind, you're like, how can I help these animals? I see in your video screen, you got rhinos all behind you on your wall. I know you're passionate about rhinos. You got a badass rhino tattoo on your chest. I mean, you're passionate, and I love it. You motivate me. I know you talk about how we met. You were in Moore Park. We were doing conservation. I believe we first met at a Bowling for Rhinos event that I was managing and putting together. I think you had some, you know, questions about the event at the time when we first met. I remember you telling me. I kind of blew you off because I was focused on just the project at hand on that day, and I apologize for that. But since then, man, you've been like a nonstop machine, and I know we both do our events. I've been doing Bowling for Rhinos. I've been doing Last for Giraffes, but sometimes I feel like I just hit a wall, and I have like the desire to do stuff, but sometimes like I just don't have the motivation to really just get this started for this year. I know I got to, but then I talk to you, and you have like a dozen plates spinning, man. You're like doing this, and you're doing that. And you're like, all of this is coming together to support rhino conservation or lemurs or pangolins or whatever you're working on at the time. And that's just how your mind works. You're always thinking about, you know, what's the next step, and you really kind of get me motivated when I talk to you. It's like, all right, man, Tim's doing this. I got to get off my butt. I got to start doing my thing. So that's why I love chatting with you, man. You're just so full of passion and energy, and that's why I'm just knew I had to get you on the show to talk about that passion and energy.
I appreciate the kind words, and the feeling is mutual, my friend. The feeling is mutual. I love watching what you got going on. Yes, I do remember back bowling for rhinos, but quickly as I got into, you know, the conservation world, doing events, fundraising, volunteering, I realized, oh yeah, you got a million things going on trying to put out fires for the bigger picture. And I think shortly after that, I mean, honestly, even through that, there was no issues, and you've just always been there with any advice or any support, lending a hand, and that's been instrumental in all the progress that you've seen. So I think two peas in a pod, but there's many of them, and we're constantly helping each other, whether people realize it or not. And that's something that I try to tell to people that I mentor. I've heard from people that mentor me, and it's lead by example. You know, be the person you want to be the change you want to see. And as far as those people around you, they might not say they're inspired, some of them might not, but there's people that inspire me that don't even know I exist. And I want other people that I mentor to know that there's people that you inspire every day, and they might not never tell you, or they might not ever tell you. But it's just one of those things where if it's for positive impact and you believe in it and it's not detrimental to yourself too much, right? There has to be sacrifices made, but not detrimental to the people around you, then I'm definitely the one to support going for it, regardless of what I might even feel on the topic, since there's so much stuff we're unaware of and we're constantly updating all the time. But yeah, man, I definitely appreciate all those words. And like I said, right back to you. As I'm getting into this event, looking at your podcast, look at what we're doing right now. Just this conversation is so beneficial. And that wouldn't have happened if you didn't stay to your grind doing what you're doing. So props to you, my friend.
Thanks, man. So we're gonna get into this, but first of all, it's Wild Tales. We're here to tell some animal stories. I know you
Oh,
got a history. You went through Moore Park. You went through the same program I did. You worked with some crazy and wild animals. You got involved in some animal businesses, some conservation. You have your hands in a lot of like exotic animal like tales. So I'm just looking for one. What's something that sticks out? What's a memory? What's a moment of inspiration, of passion, of fear. You know, I don't know, something. What pops up in your mind?
all right. So, like you said, there's tons of them, but I do like to try to make it, efficient and on point with what we're kind of doing in the bigger picture. So, the one that I'm going to want to shout out the most right now is my ghost story. Who's scared of ghosts? Ooh.
Now, listen, Tim. This is an animal podcast, not a haunted mansion
Oh,
podcast. I think are you in the right place?
yeah. Ghost, the ghost of Moore Park. You never heard of the ghost of Moore Park?
After I die, I might become the ghost of Moore
Oh
Park.
no, don't say that. Well, I
No.
will say never gone, always live on in those that you touch. So, but ghost.
No, I definitely know all about Ghost, which is a name, and I'm not going to spoil it, but I'll tell you, I'll have you tell us all about
All
Ghost.
right, straight into it. Ghost, the bald eagle at Moore Park College, known as America's Teaching Zoo previously. I believe now it's just known as the Teaching Zoo. I could be incorrect. But Ghost, from my point of view, I went to America's Teaching Zoo after getting out of the Navy. And when I got out of the Navy, I was using them so that they would pay for my college because my passion was animals. And in my last year, I Googled, what is the best animal program in the country? And that's where Moore Park College popped up. And when I went down into Moore Park, fast forward, got accepted into the program. Woo! And we start getting our assignments. One of the animals that always stuck out to me was Ghost, the bald eagle. He was very intimidating from what everyone would tell me about him. He was large. A lot of these people never dealt with animals before. And me personally, I always like to root for the underdog. And I like to, try to, even with stocks, I like to see ones that have had a good past, but when they're in the red, that's when you want to invest so they can go up. And I feel the same way with people and in animals. If you're curious instead of judgmental, you ask questions, you study behavior, you try to learn and understand. I'm not saying you have to, but if you want to help, if you do that, then I feel like you can invest properly and get a much greater return, not only for yourself, but for the individual or the animal. And Ghost was one of those where I kind of felt bad. I was like, dang, he has a bad rep. He's an awesome, awesome animal ambassador. He was injured in the wild. And so now he's educating, thousands, if not more than that. We can say millions because I'm putting him on social media, which is a huge tie in to how we can spread awareness and things like that. But back to Ghost. Let me try to streamline it. So he was one of my animals, and I also started volunteering as the president of the student council. So for me personally, I was like, yeah, I'm a veteran, I'm the president, and I got Ghost, my bald eagle. So it was really special for me. And usually he is a semester long animal. So we'll do a semester with him, and then we'll rotate to another animal, giving other students an opportunity to get more hands on experience with various exotics. It's a very great way that they have the program set up to get a whole bunch of experience depending on what you might want going forward. Ghost was still very scary. So after the first semester, I started working on building and bonding and patience. We know it's patience, patience, time. And then with him, observations, listening to the instructors telling me about his behavior. And if everyone feels a type of way about him, I was curious, how would he take that? What is his interpretation of other people's behavior? So I stuck to the grind. I listened to my instructors, fed him little or gave him little sticks through the enclosure, And over time, he got more and more comfortable. No one wanted him, at least as I recall, the next semester. So I was like, sweet, I'll take him again. And let's just fast forward the whole year. I was on him the whole year. We built that relationship. Gary Wilson, who was my training instructor, y'all may know him. I don't know if he was already on the podcast or he might be in the future, but
No, Gary's been on the podcast. He was a great guest.
love it. So this is years ago. So Gary might have a different, side of this, but this is what I believe, so I'm gonna share it. We're doing a training grade, and it's been a year that I've been with Ghost, and I'm like, it's time to show the world, Ghost. Let's do this. I'm going to try to put this needle in your keel or in your chest. And as you can imagine, big bald eagle, everyone's scared of. It's like, how are you just going to get a needle and put it in his chest? Small approximations, right? Baby steps, but I'm not going to get into all that. Long story short, let's get to the final day where it's time to see if I pass with the Ghost of Moore Park. And so I get some meat. He's rewarded with meat, and then I call him over, and he's a handicapped bird. He was injured, so we decked out his enclosure all handicapped. So he hops on his little stumps on over, and he kind of has little wings out. So it's like hopping on over. Then he gets right in front of me, and I look over at Gary. It's like, all right, here we go. Now, what Gary was teaching me leading up to it was first we started with pencil, pens, and then now with the needle. As I get closer to his chest, if he's focused on it, he's cautious. When he starts to look away, reward him. Like, don't be concerned. Keep in mind we had a relationship. So I start going with the needle, get closer, closer. He's looking at it. I'm like, okay, you're good, Ghost. You're good, Ghost. And then he looks away. So then I, reward him. Okay, he's not worried. He trusts me, or at least it's what I speculate. Go a little closer. He's looking at it. And then he looks away. Reward. Cool. Get closer, closer. Get to the chest. He's looking at it. And he looks away. And then reward. So then I'm looking at Gary like, ooh, look it. It's in his chest. It's there. And then I push a little more. He looks away. Reward. Awesome. I look back at Gary. And I'm like, do I pass? He's like, is it in? I'm like, I don't know. Because they have all the feathers. And he's like, I don't know. So I'm like, I'm going to let it go. Now, I was a little cautious and worried because letting it go, if it's in, it's going to pull on his skin a little, but it'll stick and show that it's in there. And then Gary was like, all right. So I'm looking at Ghost. Ghost is looking at me. This I might be exaggerating a little, right? We're locking him. There's fireworks in the background. Not just kidding. So I look at Gary and I'm like, okay, I'm going to let it go. And then I look at Ghost. Ghost seems chill. I kind of let it go. And then I put my hand away and it's just hanging there. And Ghost is like, reward. And then I pass my class with Ghost, the Ghost of Moore Park, because he was able to take it. It was a fantastic bird, an amazing experience. I've utilized him throughout my entire life to educate people and share about patience and, a lack of understanding. Again, be curious before judgmental, So that's one of my stories with animals, and it had to do with the bald eagle Ghost, tying into the veteran, tying into Texas Save 'em, 4th of July that we just happened. So he's promoting my event as we go forward. And yeah, hope you enjoyed that. Ghost of Moore Park, he's still representing. And if you want to sponsor Ghost, go ahead to the website at the college and you can sponsor Ghost. America.
America, that's a great story. Ghost is a wonderful animal. Certainly a highlight there at America's Teaching Zoo. And that's just important to talk about any animal you work with, just developing that bond and earning that trust to be able to do such an invasive, husbandry behavior that's going to benefit the animal in the long run. But sometimes that's what it takes for these animals. Sometimes you could do that depending on the animal in a week. Sometimes it takes a year, but it's that patience and persistence that you carry that help you earn that A in that class and get you where you are today.
Yeah, that's right. And that's also with other jobs that I've had in the education field, because as I mentioned, positive impact, it wasn't just about animals. That's just kind of my niche or niche. Love educating children as well, or sharing what I can to see what helps. And everything that you were just saying that I was talking about with Ghost, that relates to us people. We are animals, not aside from them. And patience and understanding oftentimes can result in great results, especially with positive reinforcement training. And so, as I utilize these animals as educators and ambassadors for their own kind, I also use it for our kind because a lot of that translates, relates, and it has greatly helped myself and many people around me as well as we go forward. So there's a lot when it comes to what we've learned and how we apply it in the program. And so again, that's why it's exciting when we can brainstorm, talk about it, and share with the world.
Yeah, one thing I like about you is you look for that challenge. You don't shy away from a difficult task. You're saying how the other students were looking at ghosts like, too scary, too intimidating, too difficult maybe. I want maybe ask for the easier animal. That may have been me. I asked for the hyena. You could teach that thing any behavior in like a day.
The
But
dodo.
you went for the
Or did
no,
you
it
had a
was
different
before
one?
that. It was uh, yeah, I
Djibouti?
had Savuti. So yeah, Moore Park's gone through a couple of animals. Keep in mind, I don't want to emphasize the age gap here, but Tim went to Moore Park several years after I graduated. I don't know if I hesitate to say, but I graduated in 2001, so there's almost a 17-year difference between us. So,
Oh,
a lot of the same animals, some different animals. So there's been some changes there, but Moore Park's great. They do bring in, like Tim was saying, some animals that um, are injured or have some kind of disability that prevents them from being in the wild. So they do a lot of great care for animals in need in that way.
I agree. That was something one of the things I like most about it because if you have the mindset, you can make more out of that opportunity. And those animals, oftentimes as I volunteered to be the public relations, that's also another thing that the school allowed. We would get a lot of animal rights activists or other people that are very concerned but might lack awareness or it could also be opinion on what is ethical and what is not and where you draw that line, but when it came to those animals in those enclosures, the one thing that I felt is what can I control, and I can use my experience, I can use their experiences, their past, their struggles, and I'm talking about the animals, to then relate it to people, educate it, share that passion, instill that passion. I used to tell people you don't have to be an animal keeper, you can be an actress, doctor, whatever you want. But just the fact that you might care a little more, you'll take little efforts. And no matter how big or how small, it all adds up. And that's how we as a whole help everything together. Together, we have greater impact.
Yeah, and that education and that passion that you're sharing that inspires others to help these animals in the wild in their native habitat. So regardless of how you feel about zoos or animals in captivities, obviously we have different opinions about it. I think they do great work for conservation, but
Mhm.
you are benefiting animals worldwide with everything that you do. And speaking of everything you do, let's circle back to what you are doing. What's coming up? How are you putting together this event? What's it benefiting? How is it going to save these animals?
Oh, wow. So that's a loaded question, and I love it. So,
Seemed pretty straightforward to me.
but you know how I am in my head. So, how did it all start? Well, that's going to touch back to when I graduated, but we'll fast forward to now, 3 years ago, out here in Texas wine country. I've been working at a winery called High Meadow Winery. And when I first started working there, after looking at my resume, the first thing they offered me, ooh, I might get a little emotional, but I'll control it, bring it in. First thing they offered me was, hey, we're doing a karaoke fundraiser. Would you like it if we did it for Global Conservation Force, which is an organization that they saw on my resume that I used to be the Los Angeles Conservation in LA, and then I've been volunteering ever since. And it's been like pulling teeth to try to get other places that are actually exotic animal places to support these kind of things. And there can be many different reasons why. I don't want to try to assume, speculate, judge. But when they did that, I was just like, oh, my heart melted. I felt like I made the right decision after a lot of turmoil out here. And I had some decisions to make. And I went, that's an easy decision. I know what I want out here. I'm going to stay out here. I'm going to figure it out. And they were one of the ways I helped figure it out. And the 3 years since, we've been doing multiple fundraisers, not only in Houston, supporting ones in College Station, supporting ones in California, but then hosting our own. And at the beginning of this year, since it's been 3 years in, and I've been traveling around every year or two, going to different places. So this is the longest I've been at a place since graduating. I respectfully put my foot down, and I asked my operations manager, Nikki, who I think the world of. She is a fantastic leader, one of the best ones I've ever experienced. And I asked her, I said, I want to do this event. Y'all have always done these events, and I do my best to help y'all out. I know how much work goes into it. This event's going to tie into my past. It's going to tie into people that have seen what I've done, that aren't even from Texas. They're going to support, and I'm going to lead people along the way. My people, or people that view me as a mentor, I'm going to mentor them through this, and then they are going to help me make this even bigger. And then it's going to be very transparent. So along the way, everyone's improving, the event's improving. And by the time we get to the event, it'll already be a success. So when the event takes off, it'll be a greater success. And that's where Texas Save 'Em came about. I said, I know we can't do gambling out here because it's Texas. There's different legislation laws and stuff. And I was like, but somehow, some way, I want Texas Save 'Em to be the title. And she said, okay. And since then, we've been rolling, adjusting along the way. It has been getting bigger and better. I know we were just talking last week, and you were like, when do you want to hop on the podcast? And I was like, the sooner the better, because these updates are coming in so fast, I can't even keep track. I've been working on this event while I'm prioritizing multiple other fundraisers that the winery does for other causes, which I love. Positive impact. We're helping cancer patients. We're helping sexually abused women, less fortunate children, all over. And I love it. And then they're going to be helping support Texas Save 'Em. It's how everything's coming back around. And then just a couple weeks ago, they announced another karaoke fundraiser the month prior, oof, to Texas Save 'Em. And they brought me into the office to show it, because usually I'll help with the flyers and stuff. But Nikki, she does a fantastic job of making flyers. And when Justin was like, she wants to show you something in the office. And I was like, all right, you got this out here? He was like, no, I'll go in too. I was like, oh, something's up. And so I look at that flyer, and it's a little rhino doing a kung fu kick. Now, I will do jujitsu at times. I like watching fighting. I don't try to fight unless I'm trying to protect, right? But when I saw that, and then it said supporting Texas Save 'Em, ooh, they just,
Hold it together, Tim.
I know. It's beautiful, but I love the emotion. It's raw. They know what I'm doing. I'm volunteering outside of my job, doing a whole bunch of other stuff, but then the job is tied into the bigger picture. So they're paying me, and then I'm volunteering beyond that. And then what they just did is they set up another event in front that my job is going to be to market. And then that's going to be a blast. Spread more awareness, spread more funds. And then that's going to support Texas Save 'Em the following month. It's just so beautiful, efficient, effective, how it's all connected. And they just kind of gave it to me. They put it in my hands, and I'm so grateful and thankful for that. And while I am grateful and thankful for that, and I've bounced around a lot, but while I am out here, I don't know when this will go up, but I don't want to be insensitive to the fact that people are struggling right now. Y'all might have heard in the news, there's a lot of rain going on, there's a lot of flooding going on, and there's people dying around here. Now, for the people that are watching in Texas, since this is a Texas event, I want y'all to let y'all know we're thinking of y'all. You know, we have best hopes forward. But as I say this, please don't be offended. I don't want to make this about that, because there are always things happening. I would like to encourage you to focus on what you can control, be there for the people that may need it, but do not let that energy turn negative and start displacing it on other people around you, because everyone's dealing with their own stuff. Yes, this is happening in Texas right now, and there are people around here. We're doing something about it. But when that passes, there's always things happening all the time, all around. And so I want y'all to be mindful of that. But with that said, thoughts and prayers go out to Texas and everyone dealing with the floods right now. And I'm excited. This past weekend, we had a couple events at the winery, and those members came through, and it was special. We knew they were suffering. Some of us were suffering, but together we got through it. We had a good high experience. I'm out here in High, Texas, HYE, but it was amazing. And Texas Save 'em. It's a collaborative thing. Our winery is very collaborative. You're very collaborative. I kind of do my rhino rants, so this is where you can rein me in right now.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think we're going to post this closer to the event, but yeah, we're talking about the floods that are happening in early July, and yeah, that's great that guys are helping out in the way that you can. But obviously, your passion for wildlife conservation that has definitely influenced your employers, which is benefiting, the rhinos, and it really shows like how your passion is just infectious, and that's great that you have an employer that is willing to help out not only you but other events in the community. So you're really in a good spot now. I'm kind of envious of you right now. You got a great spot. Your winery is doing the karaoke. Real quick, what's your go-to karaoke song?
Man, just like with animal education, you got to read the audience. But Sweet Caroline's a great one. No Diggity by the Blackstreet Boys. I think that one gets everyone amped up. Usher, yeah.
Hold on. Did you say Blackstreet Boys?
No Diggity, no doubt. Hey y'all, hey y'all.
Yeah, I know
hey,
the song. It's just black. I know it's Blackstreet. You're confusing them with the Backstreet Boys. It's just Blackstreet.
Oh, is it? Dang, see, education.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just Blackstreet? I always thought it was
I'm
Backstreet
sorry.
Boys.
I know. Yeah.
And see, that's
I know you were just a baby in the 90s. You wouldn't know.
And ironically, the way I first heard that song was, I think I was either in elementary or middle school, and the cooler older kids did it at a talent show, and then I fell in love ever since. And then I think Pitch Perfect made it real popular again, so I was kind of like, but then I was like, oh,
That's
it's
right.
a banger, it's a banger. But yeah, so
oh, that's one of those songs I do not change the radio when it comes on. It's one of my favorites. It's a banger. So good choice.
Your go-to.
Whoa, I didn't know this boomerang was going to come back at me.
That's how it works, right? We want to know about you.
I don't know if I got a lady to sing with me. An easy one to go to is just Love Shack, because I just do that nerdy. If you see a faded shine at the side of the road, it's
love it.
It's easy. It's nerdy. It's So that's a good one. But I try to avoid embarrassing myself in public, but then I start a podcast. So what are you going to do?
Yeah, that is a great song. It gets the people going.
So Tim, give us some dates, some links. Where can people learn more about this? How can we help out?
Great. So Texas Save 'em. It's a wine and wildlife celebration. It's going to be a free event for any and everyone to attend out here in High Texas. It's set up that way to be positively reinforcing for a fundraiser and for wildlife, and we'll be celebrating past efforts that we've support with wildlife, current efforts we're supporting, and then future efforts as well. But like I mentioned, it's a community of people coming out. There is a lot tied into it. It is honoring veterans, for myself, my friends, my father, my mother, and many other people that I know and those that I don't. It's honoring active duty. It's honoring educators. We're going to have a patriotic kickoff to start it off, singing the national anthem. I always wanted to do that. I'm not singing. I have a friend doing it. But back to what you're saying, how can people help? You're not in Texas? Well, I wasn't in Texas either. I mean, anyone and everyone can help if you can think of a way. And I thought of a way. So as I start marketing around, thank you, Mike, there is a link that's up at hyemeadow.com, HYEMEADOW.com. You'll see our events there, wines. If you love wine, it's great Texas wine. Don't believe me, let your palate decide, and you can order. But go to events. You'll see Texas Save 'em. As I mentioned, it's a free event, but there will be 5 different links, 5 species of rhinos all tied in. One for $5, one for $15, $25, $55. That comes with an endangered tasting. That's very unique. You can always inquire because I don't want to spend too much time talking about it. And there's a $555 one as well. Those are all to RSVP at the event, whether you can attend or not. Because when you RSVP and you make that $5 contribution or $15 or whatever it may be, less than 20% of that is going to go to the actual event on the day. So you are helping any and everyone that goes to the event enjoy the event. And then over 80% of that is going straight to Global Conservation Force once we end the event. And so that way, like I mentioned before the event even starts, it's already a success. We've already got donations coming in. We've had someone, shout out to you, Stone. I won't go into the full name for the $555 donation. We also got, I love this, arts and crafts. We're going to have a booth where kids can color in pictures of rhinos, penguins, giraffes. There are art pages that GCF has created. And on the back, if those children or parents choose so, they can write a letter to an anti-poaching ranger. And I say we, Mike Veal or his team, GCF, they'll send it out there or hand deliver it to those rangers. That's very inspirational and motivational. We'll be able to make corks for conservation. We'll have a silent auction. We'll have raffles. We'll have dog demonstrations where we have some people coming out to show how production dogs do work, and then they're going to relate it to how they do it out in Africa as well. There are also things getting added on to this event as we go forward. If you want to be a part of this special event, if you want to be a part of supporting me, supporting Mike, because this is my guy, he's giving me the platform. Mike, I'm going to ask you too. Please go to highmeadow.com and make your RSVP for as little as $5, and you're helping making global impact at Texas Save 'em. Let's go.
Look, that's excellent. I will go visit. I will make my reservation, even though I'm not going anywhere near Texas. No offense, but I will have all of these links in the show notes. So if you forget everything you just said, just go to the show notes, click on a link. It'll take you straight there. And Global Conservation Force is a great organization. They're doing great work protecting animals all over the world, especially in Africa and Southeast Asia, where the 5 species of rhino are: black, white, greater one, horned rhino, Sumatran, and the Javan rhino. I know my rhinos.
That's right.
So yes, go help out, support. And then, hey, let me know. Did me and or Tim, did we inspire you to start your own conservation event? Do you want to help out conservation in your own ways, man? This is how the move gets started, man. It's like one person motivates the next, they inspire the next, their passion inspires the next. You got events going on all over the country, all over the world. So let me know, man, if you got inspired and you want to do your own thing. If you need to have some questions, need some tips, email the show, wildtalespod@gmail. Contact Tim. He'll help you out. So we want to inspire. We want to get this going all over.
Well said, Mike. Well said. I want to say thank you again for the opportunity. And then organically, you're involved in a lot of conservation work as well. We like to make the joke, the other GCF. I want to do a call to action just between us. If I send something to you to support your next fundraiser for the giraffes, do you mind sending me something? You know, it could be really small for my Texas Save 'em event. We'll be trading stuff, helping different GCF organizations, and it'll be Cali, Texas. We're getting some stuff from Tokyo, Japan too. Like I said, it's global. But I'm asking you, can you send me something? Something?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot
Yeah.
on my own podcast,
That's right.
but that's an easy answer. Of course, I'm sending you something,
I
Tim.
love it.
You
I
got it.
love it. I love it. This also, real quick, shout out to Zach. That is one of the mentees, one of my boys. He passed away 2 days before we did World Rhino Day in Houston, Texas, but never gone, always lives on. He's representing this event as well. This is one of the ideas we had together years ago, and it's coming to fruition. Yeah, my boy Zach, R.I.P.
R.I.P. Zach. All right, man. Tim, thanks for coming on the podcast. I love hearing your ghost story. Looking forward to your event. Last seconds, do you have anything else you need to add? I think you covered it all, man.
Oh, never cover it all, but definitely enough for the people watching at the moment. Once again, thank you for the opportunity. A lot of times, like you were saying before, we're inspired by different things and you might never know it. And sometimes the resources you may have to someone else, you might think are small. But again, this resource right here means the world to me. It can have so much positive impact beyond what I can even measure, gives me the opportunity to talk about it, hear it, maybe focus on other things with different people. It all just kind of depends. But with you being one of the key supporters of my life, having a better understanding of my background, having a better understanding of my educational background, and then also in the mix, doing it yourself. Props to you. Keep up the great work. Thank you again for the opportunity. And I look forward to talking to you and seeing you in the future, my brother. Yeah.
Same to you. Keep up the great work, Tim. Love you, man.
Love you too. Bye.
All right, man. Take it easy.
Thanks, Tim, for coming on to the show. Great chat, great passion, man. I love that guy, man. He is so dedicated to wildlife conservation. He really gets me inspired, especially in times when I feel like I just don't have the energy in me to do another event. And I see all the work that he's doing. I'm like, I got to get it together. Tim's doing it. He's making the effort. I can keep up with him. Even though he's younger, he's got more energy. I can still keep up with him. So thanks, Tim, for being on the podcast. Support the event, even if you're not in Texas. Support him, support Global Conservation Force. I will have the links in the show notes. And hey, interact with the program. You have a question, you want to know something about me, about Tim, about wildlife conservation, about our events, about our fundraisers. You have a question about anything. You have a story you want to tell, you can email the podcast. wildtailspod@gmail.com. That's tails, Tails. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook. You can find the podcast there. Follow, join. I have, like I said at the beginning of the episode, I have one more episode to release, hopefully in a timely manner. I'll try to get it out in 2 weeks as to my regular release schedule. And then after that, go on, take a bit of a break. And then I will be sure to let everyone know when I'll be back with more great guests and more great stories. So thank you, everyone, for listening. And until next time, stay wild, my friends.